It is a pleasure to have the opportunity to introduce our distinguished guest speaker, Dr. Yasser Abu Jamei. Dr. Yasser Abu Jamei is a Palestinian psychiatrist who obtained in 2012 MSc in clinical neuropsychiatry with distinction from Birmingham. In 2015, he received the award of the Best Alumni Achievement from the Said Foundation on his work in developing mental health sector in Gaza and the CGMHB Crisis Response Plan after the 2014 war on Gaza. He also received the Alumni of the Year Award from University of Birmingham in 2016 and the Community Resilience Award from Rebuilding Alliance 2021. Dr. Abu Jamei is a member of the task force which developed the National Mental Health Strategy in 2015 until 2019 in Palestine. In 2020, with a group of Palestinian mental health professionals, he co-founded the Palestine Global Mental Health Network. He has large interest in capacity building programs, neuropsychiatry, and advocacy on lobbying activities. He is certified as a trainer of trainers in the field of supervision and care for caregivers from the Free University of Berlin. Today, Dr. Abu Jamei will talk about the power of resilience in moving forward. Welcome, Dr. Yasser Abu Jamei.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's really my pleasure to be today with you, making this presentation entitled The Power of Resilience in Moving Forward as part of the international conference, the first one, but hopefully not the last one. Let me begin by thanking the organizers, Dr. Shaheen and her team, and everyone who helped organize this event, including the universities of the Islamic University, Al-Azhar University, Palestine University, and everyone else. Well, the first thing that came to my mind when I was thinking, what should I talk about when talking about resilience? And the first thing that came to my mind is a little story that I had about 17 years ago. I was sitting in one of our community centers that belong to the Gaza Community Mental Health Program, and then we were visited by a prominent professor of psychiatry who was coming from the United States. And then he asked me, how do you feel about being a Palestinian? Is it difficult? How can people continue to live despite all the difficulties? And the first word that I said was that because we have resilience. And then the word resilience was something new to me. I was using it not that much frequently, but I knew that the Palestinian people are called resilient people because we continue to be going forward, regardless of how difficult our conditions are. So he asked me, and that was a question that struck me, do you know when we used to use the word resilience in psychiatry? I said, I'm not sure I know that. And he said, you know, that we used to use that word many years ago, describing children of parents with serious mental illness, for example, schizophrenia. You know, when one of the parents or both are, they have a mental illness or psychiatric disorder, then they usually, or they can lead to a change in the lives of the children. So when their children grow up healthy, the offsprings, then we call them that these are resilient children. It was really strange for me to hear that at that time. And then I looked into it and I found that really it's so. That you know, the capacity or the tendency or the prevalence of mental illnesses among children of parents that have mental illnesses is more than usual or ordinary children. But however, it might be possible that they call that children who grow up in a very healthy way resilient children. Years pass, and then I am today giving a lecture or giving a short talk. So the second question came, well, you know, I'm going to speak in front of students, academic students. Maybe I should make my lecture a little bit more academic. Well, usually I just speak and I'm not really constraining myself to using academic language. So I looked into the dictionary just to find out what does the word resilience mean. And the interesting thing, which is something that we all know, partially it explains why it's difficult to find meaning for the word resilient and explain it into Arabic. Well, the answer was that resilience, and this is, I think, from the Oxford Dictionary, basically we have two meanings. One is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or toughness, which is more of a psychological, thing. You face some difficulties, but you then improve. It could be an issue that is of any kind, for an institution, and for a person, for a family, etc. The second really meaning was the ability of a substance or subject to spring back into shape or to be elastic, which is something that is more of a physical thing. It sounds like a physics, a shape that will change and go back into its original shape. And that's why when we speak about translating the word resilience in Arabic, sometimes we use the word salaba. Salaba means hardship. We are not talking really about hardship here. Sometimes we talk about muruna. Muruna is elasticity. But we cannot really confine it to elasticity. It's a little bit more than that. So that's why we now use the word salada, which is, again, has some physics aspect of it. When we speak about shapes, when we speak about substances, maybe substances. But again, this is something that is very important when we talk that there is some physical aspect of it, that physics isn't there. It's not only the ability to, at the psychological level, or at the mental health level, or at the institutional level, or at the family level, but also at the physics aspect. In 2011, I looked into the impact of trauma, being exposed to traumatic event on the mental health and well-being of the population. And I did a systematic review looking how the trauma affects brain structures. So basically, I looked into some of the research studies that looked using MRI studies on how the traumatic event have shaped or have changed, if it has changed the brain structure. And interestingly, there are many proven studies that being exposed to traumatic event, of course, we know that there will be some psychological impact, but also that impact might be on the brain structures. For example, the amygdala, for example, the hippocampus. Some of them, they shrink in size. Now, interestingly, after therapy, and that therapy could be psychotherapy or could be even pharmacotherapy. So some people looked into the SSRIs and how they affect the size of some of the limbic system structures. And they found that it was brought back, or it improved in size after being using the SSRI. So again, this is the link between the physics and the spirit, if you could say. It's tied in many aspects and in many ways. But why I'm bringing this issue, talking about resilience? I should be talking about it from a mental health perspective, just from a mental health perspective, and why it's so important. And that could be explained when we talk about the definition of WHO definition of mental health. What does it mean to be mentally health? To feel that you are mentally well. The definition is simple, but also complicated. It says the world the World Mental Health Organization conceptualizes mental health as one state of well-being. Okay, so what does that mean? Well-being, in which the individual realizes her or his own abilities. One, you need to realize your own abilities. Two, can cope with the normal stresses of life. So you need to be able to cope with your normal stresses of life. Three, can work productively and fruitfully. And four, is also able to make contribution to his or her community. So in order to say that I am very well psychologically, it doesn't mean that you would be only having just that feeling. It should have some certain elements, you know. Okay, I know where I am, I know who I am, I know my abilities, I know my capacities, I can cope with the difficulties that I'm facing, and then I can be productive, not only to my life, be fruitful, but also to the people around me or to my community. Now, and from there, I take it to the students. You know, when we speak to students, are we mentally healthy? Are we fine? We feel that we are okay? Let's go back to the definition and let's then understand where is resilience in our life. You know, first of all, I could be a student in this faculty or that. Is that good? Is that bad? Well, I have met many students who started to study just in order to fulfill their parents' wishes. I know some students who joined the Faculty of Medicine, but just because their grades were high. But I know many students also that have joined universities and faculties because that was their plan. That was something that they wanted to be, and that's how they end up being in that university. Well, in any case, keep in mind that you are a university student. It doesn't matter really how you came here, but now you have a mission. Now you have tasks, and now then community is looking at you, your parents are looking at you, your siblings are looking at you. You are in a place that many other people would dream to be there. You know, you need to acknowledge that. You are going to spend 4 or 5 years of life that you are absolutely, how to say, with one task. I don't say you are not that much responsible, but your responsibility is limited to just being a successful student, managing your classes, finishing the university with good grades, and to be equipped not only with the theoretical skills, but also with the practical skills that will help you in future career. It's a very nice task. It's a very nice period of life between the age of 18 and the 23, 24. It should be one of the most wonderful years that you will ever have in your life. And if you don't know it already, you need to keep that in mind. You need to add some colors to your life if you don't feel that it's the case at the moment. And then difficulties, yes. We all had difficulties as students. We all have difficulties as workers, as employees, as people who try to serve the community from our this hat or that hat or the other hat. What difficulties could be? Difficult exam, tough lecture, a subject that is totally out of our capacity to understand. Maybe we need to spend more time on it. What should be our response? Give up? Of course not. Of course not. You need to challenge that reality. You need to talk more to the lecturer. You need to spend more time on it. And even if you're having very bad times with that subject or with that semester, for example, at the end of the day, you need to grow out of it. You know? And that's something that is attributed to resilience. You know? Resilience can be built because you have had so many difficulties in your life and you learn from your previous mistakes. You learned from your previous challenges how to overcome challenges. You understood when you were in the secondary school that if you have a subject that is difficult, it's not the end of your life. It's not the end of your academic career. You can still gain good marks. You can still go on with your life. You can still join the place that you want to be there. Resilience can be built because of people that are around you, people who are supporting you. A big part of resilience is a family that supports you. A big part of resilience is your previous educational level, your understanding. An important part of resilience is that you have a dream that is awaiting you, or that you are looking forward to end your study subjects and move on with your life. There are many things that can make you more resilient. But on top of them, to really understand where are you and to understand how good you are, despite all the difficulties that are around you. Sometimes when we see people at stresses or going through stressful events, like a traumatic event or like depression or something like that, we all the time try to find good things in their life. We try to find hope in their life. If you don't have hope, then you try to find some little things that can be candles, could be enlightened to bring more light to their life. You can find a window to the future. And for our students, for our future colleagues, you are already our colleagues, the window is already there. You are respected by the community, you are respected by your family. Everyone is waiting for a successful person. Perhaps the near future doesn't really look that much bright. We are living under occupation. We are living under so many difficulties. Our socioeconomic conditions are not that good. Our political issues are very complicated, but it doesn't mean anything. Things can change dramatically in one day or the other. And the history is full of examples when things change overnight. And it's all the time, remember that, it doesn't matter how long the occupation was or is, it will end one day or the other. It cannot go and continue forever. Okay, so I need to really understand where I am, who I am. And really, I need to appreciate the people who are supporting me. And then when I have difficulty, I shouldn't really keep it to myself, which means I need to share with the others. Perhaps I would feel that my father is the person who can help me. Perhaps it's the mother, the one who could help me. Perhaps an older brother, perhaps a younger brother, perhaps a wise man or woman that I know, perhaps a lecturer, a faculty member. I need to find the strength in those people, and I need to run to them for their support when I did that support. And then, if you need more specific, let me say, help and support, then you can seek some specialized support, which is always available. So you need to be able to cope with your difficulties. You need to be able to overcome stressful life, and then you need to be able to be productive. For us university students, being productive means literally to be able to finish your education, to be able to come back to your family with the certificate that everyone is waiting for, and to be able to find career or go for higher education. So when we look again back to the Palestinian society, when we go back to the story that Palestinians are more resilient. Yes, people go and come. They visit Palestine, they visit Gaza, for example, and say, well, things are even worse now than the previous time. And we are really astonished to see how people in Palestine continue to go forward with their lives. When the university, when the school semester began in September, although we had few days from the very recent attacks, almost all the children went back to schools. When universities opened, almost everyone went back to school. Work, anyone who has a work tried his best to go back to work. People who do not have work and unemployed are trying to have their best to find some work here and there. So there is always a question about whether you are capable of being resilient or not capable of being resilient. I prefer to look at it in a different way. Are we all the time capable of finding our right path, how to continue our road forward, how to continue our path forward, how we can make use of all what we have, our own selves, or people around us, or people who are support us, whether just the family or more than that. And together, we can try our best to move forward with our lives and achieve best out of it. Thank you very much.